I'm going to go ahead and collapse down my brush palette. And now for the moment of truth, I'm going to head to the layers palette and I want to create a new layer. So go ahead and create a new layer there inside the layers palette. If you want to give this guy a name, go for it. I'm going to simply call this glow, or maybe glow effect or something like that. And then what I'll do is inside the paths palette, sure enough, there's our work path. I'm going to go and stroke this path though. So what I'll do is I'll head to the path palette menu and then down to stroke path. Okay, now inside the stroke path dialog box that appears, make sure the tool is set to brush and that you have simulate pressure turned on. Now, before I go any further, I want to mention something here. The reason why we set those calligraphic brushes and we went into the brush panel and set our options there and all that stuff is how it works here when we go to stroke a path and we go and choose a tool here, again, maybe the pencil or any of the other options that we have here, is the path palette, the stroke path command, if you will, is going to remember the last settings that were set for the selected tool. So the idea here is that you set up this tool first, then come in here and choose the tool from the tool drop-down menu. I hope that makes sense. So what we're doing is we're going to set up the tool first, then come in here, choose the tool, turn on simulate pressure, and then click on OK. And what we wind up with is something like this, right? Now, unfortunately, what this looks like is a big black inked line, which is really no good, right? We want a glow effect. We want it to glow. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to do an undo, Command Z or Control Z on the Windows side. And what I want you to make sure of is that you don't have black as your foreground color swatch, but that you have white. So that's another important thing to remember, is that when you're using the stroke command inside the paths palette, it's going to use your foreground color swatch. So I'm just going to hit the X key here to flip the color swatches there. So now white is in the foreground, and then I'll head back to the paths palette, back to the menu there, down to stroke path. I have brush, I have simulate pressure, go ahead and click on OK. And now we get pretty much exactly the same thing, but now it's in white, just like that. Perfect. All right, good stuff. Now, if you want to deselect your work path, just click below, sort of in the bottom half of the paths palette there. You might want to zoom in on your tower. We now have something like this happening, which is looking pretty cool, but it's not really glowing, is it? So we're going to continue with this exercise. I'll show you how to apply a glow effect onto this in the next lesson, and you'll see exactly how all of this plays out.